All right. Well, day 5. I've been sitting here for the last probably 10 or 15 minutes just um figuring out exactly what I wanted to talk about. I did what I always do as I got on Twitter for 1 minute and of course found some inspiration to guide my day, I guess, today and guide my thoughts for today, and I'm still trying to understand it. And I I think I'm gonna be even less coherent than usual right now. But I rather than sit and write down everything I wanted to say and everything, I think it's better to talk through it. And I'm sure it's boring as hell, but I think it's good to talk through my process of thinking about how to improve this. Um, so I just was watching some videos about, writing and learning and how to help people. And I think when it comes down to it, I need to be valuable. I think in every job I've ever had, I was never the smartest person. I definitely didn't work harder than everyone else. I mean, I definitely tried, in different respects, but mostly I tried, I think, at the beginning is so that people would like me. I think that was kind of the main thing. And for whatever reason in my childhood, I was taught that for people to like you, you should be valuable to them. And it's not a wrong thing to do. I think it'll get you pretty far in life. I think eventually you start to question those relationships and feel like they, people are using you, not using you, but it's just not as it's not as equal as it should be. I think you start to question if these people actually like you for you or not. I think that's something that I've always kind of struggled with, and I think I've gotten a lot better with it. I don't feel the need to be super valuable to people. I used to literally not say a word in conversation unless I thought it was a valuable thing to add to the conversation. Like I'd be a robot. Like I mean, I'm exaggerating, but like I would not engage with my personality unless it was something that I thought the group or the person would find valuable. And it wasn't like a trying to sound smart thing. It was like a I'm so happy that you invited me thing, that I feel like I need to give you something and I can't pay you because that's weird. It was such a like, thank you for letting me be here kind of situation. And like I said, I've gotten better about that. I don't feel like I need to. I think it's still in my head, and I guess full circle. I definitely use that tool in work pretty well. So for the last 10 years, I like to think that I'm the best assistant anyone could ever have. Like if my bosses needed something, I could predict it. And that it doesn't mean that I was an assistant to them. It just means that they found me super valuable because I was good at reading their mind. I was good at guessing what they needed next. And it was probably because, I spent years of it in my teenage years guessing what people would find valuable. But kind of where I'm heading with this is I need to do that again. I think I've been resisting that because I couldn't decide if that was a lot of my decisions, a lot of my back and forth in my brain is deciding if what is growth and what is not growth. What is improving me and being uncomfortable and doing new things, and what is kind of falling into bad habits or falling into the same blind spots. And I think that's one thing that I went too far in the other direction with the valuable thing. I don't think I should turn and run away from it. I think I need to remember it's a tool in my tool belt, and it's not who I am. It's not my whole being, but it is something that will help me achieve my goals, help me. I think, especially in this context, I think being valuable to you, the person listening, or I'm the person I'm trying to help. is the whole point. And I need to reframe some of how I'm doing this to improve that and think through that better. I don't think I'm doing an awful job at it, but I think I'm gonna have to. I have to work on that for a little while, because I don't think I'm delivering enough value right now for you to listen, and that's okay. We're just a few days in here. I'm trying to. My daughter and my son kept me up all night, waking up all night, so I'm a little foggy. But I think it goes back to, where am I? Right? I was here yesterday, and it's so funny, right? It's that this Denzel Washington has a quote from after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, and he said that he told Will Smith that when you're at your highest highs, that's when the devil comes after you. And because Will Smith was getting a Lifetime Achievement Award that day or something stupid. And I don't mean to talk about them, but all I'm trying to say is, the funny thing is, when I point out that I'm over here somewhere having a great day, you know what's coming the next day? A day like this. A day like, what am I doing? What's the point of this? Why would I post the same thing every day and not put some effort in? And that's kind of what I'm thinking about is, what is that effort? What does that mean? How do I do that in a meaningful way that's also something I can handle? That's something I can do at this stage of this, because I'm not, I don't know. I'm not going to spend hours doing research for this. Maybe I will one day, but and it's hard because I think part of the realness and our humanness comes from just speaking your mind. And I'm not good at doing that in a persuasive way yet. And also the process of showing you that I'm not is kind of the point. Assuming I will be better at this eventually. So, yeah. So thinking about value, being valuable, and obviously not letting it be the whole part of my being, just a way to complete this goal, which is to help people, with this, what I'm doing. So to be valuable to people, what do they need from me? They need new ideas. They need to be persuaded. They need to feel like I'm an expert in some form, to listen, to be noticed. They need to get the answers they're looking for. I think that's part of the problem too. I don't think I've targeted an audience more specific enough yet for this. I think in my head, I think you're always hoping more people like it and find value from it than will ever do, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a specific avatar, a specific person that really finds this valuable, and maybe a lot of people that, it's not for them, which is fine, I think I need to narrow down my specific avatar more. I started with business owners, and I think that's still, on the table, I think. But the more I go down this road, maybe my avatar is that person that's sitting in their basement right now, wondering, who am I? Maybe my avatar is that 20-year-old me who's lying on a couch. I did this a lot in my 20s. Laying on my couch, watching TV, staring at the ceiling, going, is this it? I have a good job. I have a fine job. I'm not going to be able to retire until I'm 65 or whatever, hopefully. I don't really have a long-term girlfriend or anything that I'm, really excited about. I'm just kind of here deciding, what to spend my time on. And of course, the ironic part is, when you have all the free time and energy, what do? You sit around. you go, this sucks. Is this someone's fault? What should I do? What should I do with this time? I used to just sit around and think, what should I do with this time I have? I have so much free time. How can I use it? And I mean, the good thing about getting busier, and especially with kids, obviously I don't think that anymore. I don't sit around going, what should I do with my time? I go, I don't have a lot of it. Crap. what what is important? How can I help them? And I think the kicker is, kids give you so much purpose and love, and I just, side note, I'm sure I'll talk about this a lot. I have no idea. I had no idea what love was until I met my kids, until they started existing. I told my dad that, and he got so confused that I told him, I was like, I say I love you a lot, but I don't think I knew what you meant by it. I knew what I meant by it, which is not. Love was very transactional until I met my kids, and is not transactional. It is overwhelmingly pouring out of me, all the time. It's indescribable. And thank God for it. I'm not a God person, but whoever made it, evolutionarily, whatever happened, the things that your kids put you through, if you didn't have that thing that holds you back from just doing awful things, because they just put you in situations that you just are not prepared for. But anyways, so I think that was really the turning point for me, is they gave me that sense of purpose and belonging and love that it fills up my cup so much with everything that at that point you're kind of you kind of fall into a pattern where it's like, okay, I have all this, I feel like I have a superpower now, I feel like I can do things I never thought I could do. And I really wish everyone can feel that at any point in their life, at any point, in their journey. It's just one of those things that I don't know if there's a different version of it out there, but I haven't heard of it. I haven't learned about it that will make you feel this way about your kids, about life, or about anything like your kids do. So, end of side note. So once I had that, things got clearer. I mean, my time got more constrained, but also my life feels more complete by achieving less, ironically. And that puts you in a corner. That puts you in a creative box, because then you kind of go, I really don't have to do anything to feel good. I really can feel good by looking them in the eyes, and making them smile and laugh. That makes me feel so good, better than achieving most of my goals feels good. And so once you kind of have that, it kind of just unlocks some other, I guess, opportunities, and how to spend your time, and how to, I guess the thing I'm trying to say is, I've spent so much of my 20s struggling with what to do, how to do it, who am I? That was my favorite question. Everyone loves to ask that question. Who am I? What do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do with my life? I only have one of them. I only have one life. And if I don't do something amazing with it, if I don't do everything with it, if I don't become everything with it, then what? Then I suck. Then I squandered it. I spent it. I'm gonna regret it. Regret it. That's a big one. What should I do so I don't regret it? How should I live my life so I don't regret it? I don't know. I think I've landed. I'm sure this will change soon, but I think I've landed right now with one day you're gonna be dead, and you know that's it, right? Like it doesn't really. I don't know if it gets more meaningful than that. you, I think I've found a lot of power from separating it into more tangible things, like because your brain can't handle that. Your brain can't handle. I mean, it can't handle death to begin with, but it can't handle life either. It can't handle like years. It can't. I can't think in years. I can think in hours. I might be able to think in days, but I really can't think like. I mean, there's a whole psychology behind like the things you will predict will make you happy don't, and the things that you think you'll always love you change. Yeah, there's a great Dan Gilbert thing where like 90% of everything that you think you love will be different in like 5 years or 10 years, and you can't predict that. And if someone recorded you, you wouldn't believe them. You can record yourself, and then my wife did this yesterday. She said, Brian, you changed your opinion about that. I forget what it was, and I was like, no, I didn't. I think I'm telling you a different part of my opinion, but from my perspective, my opinion didn't change because I'm always right. And she's like, I didn't say that literally, but she said, no, your opinion changed, but you don't believe it yet. And it's self-fulfilling, right? Your brain doesn't want to be wrong, and you want to think you're always right, but it's always constantly changing. So you have to like find this like weird manipulative way to like believe yourself rather than just accept the fact that I probably won't know what I want forever, and I probably won't years from now think I spent that time correctly, because years from now I'm going to be thinking and wanting different things. Um so anyway, so what I found was, if I break it into, and this is the Atomic Habits thing once again. I've been so much happier and more productive and just less worried. I mean, first with kids, like I said, but the big thing after that part that got me over the next hump in my journey has been thinking about the average day and let's make the average day good, Brian. Let's take away as much as possible from the average day that's negative and bad, and let's do as much good and be as positive, and break it into just good habits that you're going to do every day, and take away as much friction from your day as possible. If there's anything you can do, I'm sure I'm talking from a place of a ton of privilege, so it's really hard for me to like tell you, the person who's struggling to do something, that you're not doing it well enough or good enough. I really don't want that to be the point. The point is, think about your decisions, and your decisions might not sound like decisions. It took me years to realize that I'm deciding these things that I do every day, and I'm deciding not to do them too, whether they're good or bad or hard or easy. When I get up for work in the morning, you can say I need to go to work in order to pay bills and do everything. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying realize that's a choice that you're making, and don't change it immediately, obviously, because you got to pay the bills and everything. But realize that if you want to make a different choice tomorrow, in a month, in a year, you got to start to make that decision right now of what you want that change to be. So picking apart your day into, what decision did I make? Even like decisions like breakfast and how I spent my time, I think are really important to pick apart your blind spots of what you think is possible and not possible, and what you're capable of, and what you think is good and bad. I had an ex-girlfriend a long time ago that was really mad at me because I wouldn't make some change for her. And I couldn't comprehend that I was deciding not to make the change. I couldn't comprehend that. And that, like, I don't think we were meant to be together anyways, but like, it took me years in therapy to realize that, like, when I don't do something, it's still a decision I made. You know, when I say no, I can't do that. I'm not, I don't want to have that conversation, or um, that doesn't mean enough to me to make that change. That's a decision too. The anti-decisions are decisions too. And I think that reframe of my brain of what's a decision, and effectively everything's a decision to do and to not do, to quit this and never do this again, is also a decision that is equal to the decision to keep doing it. You know, I think it's so easy to take the one-time decisions and to say that they are less important or more important, but I think overall what I'm trying to say is, if you can pick apart your average day, and the Atomic Habits book is really good about this, and like that, they get even more detailed than I would say, but how much friction can you reduce from your average day? And by friction, I mean that moment when you go, it's my favorite thing to do every day. I can't handle this. I can't deal with this. This is too frustrating. I had a 1.5 hour commute to work every day for 8 or 9 years each way. And thank God, I'm saying God a lot today, but thank God I was so overwhelmed that I said, I can't do this anymore, you know? And that's sometimes the right decision, you know? I'm a push through it. I'm a figure it out kind of person. And I don't know when it's not helping me anymore. You know, I don't know when I'm pushing in the wrong direction. And I kind of did that in my career too so far. As I pushed and pushed and wanted to get promoted and promoted and promoted. And at some point, I found myself seeing my boss's job and possibly being offered it in a year or two, and knowing I did not want that job. I knew that is not the thing I wanted to do. It was so much more overwhelming and on call all the time, more than I could ever have wanted. And I would never have a life balance doing that. I would never feel like this was a good use of my time, because it would be an overwhelming amount of time. And once that kind of hit me, yeah, it was, that's what sent me in a tailspin for a few years of like, where am I? What am I? What's the point of this? What if my whole life taught me you must be CEO or you're nothing? That was a real tough awakening to realize, because I think it's easy to glamorize the boss's job. But when you have to actually do it, and you're the actual person who has to decide between spending time with your kids or going to work on Saturday and Sunday, or putting your kids to bed, or staying at work late, or, you know, thinking about work rather than relaxing, or thinking about something you find valuable, something that you think is good or important. I've had so much struggle with work. Is interesting. It can be fun. It can be entertaining. It feels like a good use of my time until about like 3 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, do I really want to think like this? Like, to keep moving up the ladder, you have to keep thinking about work. It has to become who you are. And I think there's excellent people that do that very well. And that's why they get promoted and they enjoy it and they keep doing it. I think I just don't. I have most of that, but I don't have that last piece where it's. I think I was brought up by parents that were workaholics, and that was a great way to put character in me about that, and explain that the value of that, because they achieve so much. Um, but it also, like, you always want to, this is the thing about parents, is like you always want to be better than them at everything. And that's good and bad, because, it makes you really want to try, but it also is overwhelming because a lot of times your parents did the same thing, and we're all looking at hundreds of generations of parents and saying, I want to be better than all of them at the same time automatically. And I want it to be easy. I want to be better than everybody, and I want it to be easy too. Um, and it's not possible. That's the trick, is it's not possible, and you got to pick your battles. And so my parents taught me that being a workaholic is a good idea, and I still agree with that. But of course, I need to beat them at this idea too. They can give me a nugget, and I gotta say, you're right 90% of the time, but I'm right about this 10%. That's how I feel like that's how parenting works, or being a kid works. It's like you know that they're right generally, but you got to pick apart the little piece of it that they're wrong and shove it in their face. That's kind of like, I feel like the kid mentality is, how do I show you that I know more? But not all about everything, just about little pieces of what you're saying. And the little piece that I picked out that I am holding on to as an adult now, is workaholic is good, but I want it to be meaningful to me. And I think it's in normal businesses, I think that's been difficult. I've changed careers, I've changed industries, you know, kind of searching for that. And I think I've gotten a lot closer to it. But I think also there's a piece of me that wants to get obsessed with my work, wants to think about it and dream about it, because I think that's what greatness is. I think that's what the best people on earth do, and I want to be like them. But I've had a really hard time finding the thing I want to think about and dream about and spend every waking moment doing. I am willing to and able to and want to actively not watch television ever again. Never use social media ever again. If I can do something that is valuable to people, I'm willing to sacrifice that to get that. I think that is a sacrifice you would need to decide for yourself what that is. But I think you need to remember that the people you want to be like do not watch television. They pretend to in their stupid interviews or whatever. They pretend to be like you so that you'll like them or not think they're crazy. But they are spending every waking moment thinking about how to be good at whatever they like being good at. That's how they've been since they were 2 in most cases, and that's why they're so good, and that's why you know their name. That's why whoever you're following, whoever you think is super important or valuable, or even people you think don't care or don't try, I would be willing to bet all of the money I have. I'd be willing to bet my house that they try harder than you'll ever know at that thing. And not even just literally doing it. I mean, just thinking about it and reading about it and talking to people about it. I'd be willing to bet every single one of their friends and probably a lot of their family and everyone in their phone is people that are their community for that activity that they are great at, and coaches on how to be better at it. Think about that. You want to be good at something, you want to be great at something. These people, the people that are good and great, and you know their name and you want to be like them, they have surrounded by themselves, their whole life, their whole system is communicating with people that will help them be good at that thing. They don't have a single friend, a single family member, a single person in their phone that they invest time into that isn't actively helping them achieve their goals. And that might be a little, all the way. That might be a little, they might have one or two, I understand that, but I think that's just a decision you're going to have to make along the way. It's a decision I'm making right now. Who do I invest time into? Knowing that if I want to be great, I need to stop investing time into people that don't help me become great. And I don't think it's like a use people thing. I think it's like a find a coexistence. Find people who are interested in the same thing as you and talk to them constantly. Find people that are a little bit better than you and talk to them constantly. Find people that are a little bit worse than you and talk to them constantly, because it'll help you understand what you know. And that's where the value comes from. Organize your life. Reduce the friction in your life. Reduce the negative. Reduce the relationships, the time, the energy, the focus. Eliminate all of your focus on anything other than the thing you want to be your greatness. I used to follow, I'm a big hockey fan, and I used to follow all of these hockey blogs. I used to read hockey blogs all day. I used to spent all this time following all these hockey insiders. I wanted to be a hockey insider. I built my blog, and I started blogging and whatever for a couple months. And then, of course, like everything, once I had to do it, I didn't get to do it. Everything that's a get to is fun, and then when it's a have to, it's a job, and that's when you quit. And that's when our favorite curve starts turning around here. This is the get to side. This is the have to side, right? So I'm doing that. This is the get to side. This is the have to side. Once it becomes a have to, that's when it gets scary. That's when you are making a real decision on your time and your life, and that's when you quit. And that's okay, Quit the wrong things, But I think like this. I think this is a new growth opportunity for me, and I think it's a good message. Pick something and do it for a year. If you can't commit to doing it for a year, it's not your thing. And also reevaluate your decisions if you can't do it for a year. And that not in a you're a bad person, don't ever try ever again. But I think you should write down why it happened. I think you should document what you're feeling every day, like I'm doing, because I think you'll learn something. Me watching these back, I learn a lot. And you don't have to post them or whatever. It's no big deal. I mean, it's just about being accountable. Great people are accountable. I know you pretend that they're not, and there's tabloids or whatever that they're not, but they are. These people, I guess I'm thinking about actors in this example, but like they're memorizing lines, they're going to characters, they're signing up for movies they hate. Okay, they think will suck. They don't know, but they know that they've done a movie like it and it sucked, and they know what it'll be like and it wasn't fun. There's actors that are 70 years old, 80 years old, and doing action movies. Do you think that a 70 or 80-year-old person is excited to have their body trashed and torn around and thrown everywhere? No. But what do? They get into character. They practice for months on becoming that character. They memorize all their lines. They show up that day, and they get their body destroyed in that action. I'm 32 years old, and I think I would get my body destroyed in some of these action movies that get made. Even with the stunt teams and everything. I really like. I guess I'm channeling my Harrison Ford just put out the new Indiana Jones movie, and I don't know anything about the guy on a personal level. Obviously, I'm just pretending he's my grandpa, and I'd be like, "Grandpa, what are you doing? You're killing yourself. Like this, is this really fun for you?" And he would say, "This is my life. It's not fun, but it's how I spend my time." Fun for me is achieving greatness, is what he would say. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I think he would say. He would say, fun for me is being great and doing great things and being great at those things. And I'll put my body through any thing to do that. I will change my body. I will figure out how to do it. I will do the thing as best as I can every single day. And it's not for everybody. I think that's the hard part. I'm going to try really hard not to just dissuade you from trying, because I don't think that's helpful. I think everyone should try something, but I think it's healthy to realize that at some point I'm not going to achieve the greatness that I could because I'm not like that. I can reorganize my life to be like that. But like I said before, my true north is to never make decisions that will actively hurt the relationships in my life of my kids and my wife. And at some point, if I do become great at something, I will have to make a decision. I will have to go on the road and spend time working on something away from my family. And I don't know how I'm going to handle that yet. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to minimize it as much as I possibly can. I think that's going to be a hard decision, but you know what I'm going to do before that? I quit. I'm going to try, you know? I'm going to assume I can figure that out before I assume I can't. Because I spent so much of my life assuming I can't figure that out. I should just stop and quit and never start. But yeah, I'm going to trust myself that along this journey, along any journey, I'll figure it out. You know, and that's I take that from John Mayer. There's a John Mayer quote where he literally, I mean, this is all songwriters, but they literally have to like talk about their deepest, darkest secrets, you know, and they like kind of put them in like cute ways and like phrases and stuff to make them not sound so dark, but like I mean, they're doing what I'm doing. They're literally like putting their life out there and saying, "Look at me." And then they have to sing it every night, you know. They have to like strum a guitar and sing about it and tell that same story over and over and over again, even when it's not meaningful to them anymore, even when it's not important. And he has a great quote where he's like, I literally put so much effort into this song. I didn't go outside for 2 whole weeks, you know, and that's him being interviewed. That's not even the real story, you know. Like in the interviews, I've spent so much of my life thinking that the interview was real, and it's not that people are fake and mean or anything. It's just hard to articulate. In my opinion, this is hard to articulate the struggle you went through. Like when they interview an athlete, they ask them, "How'd you do that thing?" They're going to tell you, "Well, I spent 1,000 hours of my life practicing it over the last year and a half, that specific shot that I just made." Yeah, I've literally done it 10,000 times, mostly in the off season. And when that opportunity presented itself, I did it because my body was trained to do it. No, they're gonna say, "Oh, I tried really hard, and it you know, came to me, and it went in, and we're happy it did, and good go team," you know, because you know what they're doing? They're preparing for the rest of the halftime. They're preparing for the rest of the game. They're preparing for the next game. They're so great that they see this interview as a opportunity to slip up, and they need to get out of that opportunity as soon as possible. They need to get away from you to keep being great. And I wish I learned that a long time ago, that the interviews are not real, that they're something they've prepared to avoid having more of their time and energy sucked up by them. They're prepared. They're ready to say nothing. I know we all like laugh that they all say cliches, but the whole point is they say as little as possible so they can go back to doing the stuff they need to do to be great at that thing that we're interviewing them to you know about. I think I rambled here a lot. I think these will get more organized as I go. And I'm blanking on what I was talking about, which is embarrassing. Okay, well, I feel like I was making good progress there, but I lost it. I'm going to give it 10 more seconds. If it comes to me, it comes to me. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And I'm sure I'll watch it back and slap myself and get on the next one and keep moving. Now I'm thinking I need a co-host to keep me on track. Well, I guess that's it. So keep moving. I'm sure I'll finish all these stories eventually. Keep trying. I understand that great people don't accidentally have that happen to them, that they chose that from a young age, usually 8 or 9, or it's very young teenage years, that they will spend every waking moment of their life thinking, dreaming, doing, trying, learning, getting coached for that thing. And it isn't some accident that they're this amazing golfer or some amazing person that everyone wants to talk to and be like. They literally have created that person. That person didn't exist. Just like companies, they don't exist until somebody literally says, like, I'm going to call every customer and ask them what they need from me until I learn and grow and do better. So pick apart your life and pick apart what's valuable to you. And if you're sitting on the couch staring at the ceiling saying, what should I do with my life? Pick something and do it for a year. I'd say that's what my advice would be. Because the worst thing you can do is sit around and think you should have done something instead. I think put your whole energy into something for, I'd say, a year. If you really can't sign up for that, I would say 3 months. Okay. But just, and I really, 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 I know when people say something, you pick the minimum amount. I would say a year, please. But fine. If you really, really are going to really pick me apart, I would say 3 months. But I think you'll learn more about how hard it is to achieve something in that time. That the goal is not to achieve the thing in 3 months. The goal is to realize what this curve is like. To realize what you're to feel these things. Okay? The whole point is to feel these things. Because then the next time you try something, you're laughing, you're smiling. You got this, I call it a wise smile. You're like winking at the thing. While you're feeling this right now, you're not feeling it. You're feeling it, but you know it's coming. Knowing it's coming is like 10 times better than, or 100 times better than actually going through it. And the problem is, a lot of people go through this once and they quit here, 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 they quit here. They never actually feel the whole thing, you know? They never actually feel what, like, and they never get to look back because it's never like really visualized. Because we only, what do we do? We only remember 3 weeks ago. I don't remember anything that happened to me more than 3 weeks ago. I can go look at my phone, look at pictures. Fine. Oh my God, that was such a hard time in my life. Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was devastating. You know how I feel about it right now? I feel like it was a hard time in my life, and it's something I'm going to say, and I'm not going to care. It's over. That part of my life doesn't matter anymore, though, right? Like the hardest parts of our lives, we kind of just like shrug at. The best parts of our lives, we kind of shrug at after 3 weeks. That's my thing. 3 weeks. So once you can plot yourself where you are on this curve, 90% of the problem with our brains of only remember 3 weeks ago and not realizing, it's the Kobe thing, not taking yourself out of the situation, taking like just being there and saying, I'm a human doing this thing. 90% of it is gone if you can take yourself out of this curve and just point yourself on it, right? I that's immensely helpful because you stop living and dying on this thing. That's the whole point. That's why we quit. It's because you live and die on this thing. You're going to achieve the world. You're going to take over the whole world. Oh my God, nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. And no one will ever care. And I honestly, this could might not even be true. I'm going to have great days over here and I'm going to have terrible days over here for the next months. You know, I'm going to think I'm in this part and I'm still in this part. You know, I'm going to go back and forth throughout these parts because you know what? I'm a human and my personality is going to change every day. My perspective is going to change every day and I'm going to have a great moment with a friend and then I'm going to feel like I'm on the upswing. I'm going to have one person comment on something. I'm I'm gonna have one viewer. I have no viewers yet. I'm gonna have one viewer. And I'm gonna go, oh my god, yes, I'm doing it. I'm already here. Look at that. I'm going viral. It's crazy. The whole point is whatever you're feeling, remember that's the part of the curve you're on right now. You know. So I have to sign off, but sorry, I lost my track in the middle there. I'm sure I'll get better at this, but I'm hoping it's valuable, and I need to come back to value and being valuable. And I think at some point I'll have to cut these up and make them more articulate and specific. But for right now, I'm just getting my brain out there and trying to see how this all works. So I'll see you tomorrow. There's the button.